Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Hey, everything on three. Number three. One on one. Oh. One on three. 1, 2, 3. I know the next step from that. Eyes on three. Everything on three. One. Everything.
You are now listening to the Fantasy Football Bros Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Fantasy Football Bros Podcast. It's your boy, all
I do is win, no matter what.
Chaz. And with me, not as always, because he's not here. We're missing Jay, by the way, because that's how that normally goes. But we do have the no nickname, no nonsense.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Adam Van Houten.
What's going on, guys? What's up? What's happening? How we doing?
Adam is back.
Wonderful Wednesday. I'm back. New laptop. New
Setup.
setup. I'm sounding good. I love it.
Better. I mean, you never sound good, but no, I'm kidding.
All right, take it easy.
Wow.
Take it easy over there. And you
This guy.
already.
Hey.
Hey, let's get him introduced. We've got the fantasy football surgeon himself.
Hey, like a surgeon.
Zags, what's up, bro?
What's up, boys? How's it going? I just want to do a quick shout out to Adam, who's rocking two very underrated pieces of apparel right now with the first hat and the Steel Panther shirt. Like, let's go, dude.
You know what this is from?
Oh yeah, dude. I love his puzzle solving videos, dude.
Dude, thank God. Nobody knows what it is. So when people ask me about it, I always sound like such a nerd, right? I love Chris Ramsey. He's fantastic YouTuber. He's a great magician, puzzle solver, all that. And nobody ever knows what that's from. So I always just tell them, well, yeah, because, if you're not first, you're last, right? Right, Ricky Bobby?
No.
Not first.
And then if you're not first, you're last. And then I always go with the bit, the Joe Dirt bit when he's talking about the 3 rules of dealing with a croc. Rule number 1, I'm number 1, so I wear the first. Rule number 2, Crocs number 2.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about, but I'll just.
You don't remember that?
No,
Oh,
I
you're
know
on-
Ricky Bobby. I don't know about. I don't know about.
No, you don't know the Joe Dirt bit?
Sorry. Yeah, I know what you're talking about with the movie. but
Okay. Oh, you don't know Chris Ramsey. Okay.
that's what I'm saying.
And then and then bam, Steel Panther, baby.
I was about to say, boys, this podcast is gonna be just us watching Joe Dirt if Chaz has never seen that movie.
Yeah, literally.
I have
We were-
confessions up the wazoo, guys. Like, I have never seen so many movies. I came down with a bout of COVID in 2020 and was stuck in my bed for 2 weeks, if not more. And in that 2 weeks, for the first time ever, I watched all the Lord of the Rings, all the Godfathers, all the Rockies, all the Ocean's 11, all the. I just watched so many movies I caught up on, and I didn't watch any of the all the Marvel movies until like last summer. So I'm catching up though.
I mean, I'm sorry you had to watch the Rocky movies, but the rest of those are mandatory.
Not that bad. that is Rocky 1 is a good movie. I mean, it won the Oscar for movie of the year, and Rocky 4 is like a fucking cartoon, bro. It's so fun.
Yeah, Rocky 4 was rough.
It's awful. Yeah.
It's fun. It's like a cartoon. I loved it. I had a good time.
It's rough.
I had a good time. But guys, you ready for the
Got
biggest news of the week? If you guys watched last week's episode, you see I was in a fucking battle, and you know what? Chaz won, fucking Amaretto 0, bitch. I got into it thanks to my friends Husky. We got into it. It was a twist top for everybody at home, and it was just very caked on sugary. As soon as I cracked the seal, it was all sugary. Did you hear that?
I can hear it.
Oh, yeah, we heard
that,
it. We
it's got
heard
that
it.
Sandy
It's like a
grind to
turntable.
it.
Little, it's got that scratchy,
So
like you're on a record player.
well, here's the update. So obviously I cheated on it, but what you do, guys, is, and maybe I'll mix one later, but you take the Corona, you take 2 sips, and then you put the Amaretto in it, and it tastes like fucking Dr. Pepper. It's so fucking good. I recommend it at home, everybody. Have you ever tried
Nice.
this drink, Dave? Have you ever tried this?
I feel like there's got to be like 17 different drinks where if you mix something
There-
together, it tastes like Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. So believe it or not, dude. So I used to do that was my beach drink back when I used to go to the beach all the time. Now can't catch me at the beach at all. But it was Corona, and then you take a sip and you put a shot of Bacardi Limon in it, and it just gives it a lemon flavor all the way through the Corona. Absolutely fantastic.
Good.
And then there was another one that I used to do. I used to take Bacardi Dragonberry and make it. That's strawberry rum, and we put the strawberry in there, and then you do a little dash of grenadine, so it turns it pink.
That sounds kind of
And
tasty.
it's very dangerous. We've had many blackout days on the beach,
Is this a hot
but
take? I can't.
I've never
fucking
heard
stand
that one.
strawberry. Fake strawberry. I cannot stand fake strawberry. Get that fucking fake strawberry. And fucking throw it out the fucking window. Real
For
strawberry.
real?
I fucking eat all day. You bring me a fucking strawberry flavored like Gatorade or a strawberry freezy pop. You know what I gotta say to that? I gotta say, nah, bruh. None of that.
Really? See, that's me with grape, dude. Anything fake grape, I'm just like,
Agreed.
this is
Yes,
this is
grape.
cough medicine. Get this shit out of here.
Fake
I
grape
like fake grape.
and fake orange.
See, I like those.
I was never like a big orange soda fan.
Get out.
can't
Orange sodas.
stand
Who
it.
loves orange soda? Kel.
Kel.
No,
loves
Kel
orange
loves orange
soda.
soda. I
Yes,
know
look.
that, but Adam doesn't.
I love grape, and I knew someone was going to say that because artificial grape gets this fucking like bad rap, and it is fucking delicious. You give me that grape freezy pop all day, every day. Grape fucking crush soda. I'm staring right over there at my bar. Grape Pinnacle vodka. Yeah, I go hard and buy the expensive stuff.
You come over and hang anytime you want, bro, because I got a whole fucking freezer of grape popsicles with your name on it.
Can go. I'm in. Now I want to come over. Actually,
Dave buys the variety pack of popsicles and leaves the grape ones in there so they get all frostbitten and
They
everything
should just
until
make
someone comes.
They should just make a variety pack that's just orange and red, dude. Nobody wants that grape. Get that out of there.
That's how I feel about Starburst. Like, but only pink ones in there. Give me a break.
they do sell only pink ones. And Dave, by the way,
Do
like,
they? Oh well, I
I come
stand
over to your
corrected.
house once a year. You could give me some grape flavored stuff once a year.
Well, I got a whole wheelbarrow of grape flavored shit for you next draft day, buddy.
All right. Well, that's the episode, guys. Thank you for joining. All right. So
All right,
everybody, at
but
home,
we're gonna pick back up at Dave's house eating grape popsicles.
we're changing it up a bit. We usually start with whatever that shitty team is that plays in Buffalo, but we're gonna talk about them later. We're doing a little different this here, guys. So let's see if you like the new version of the show. So we're gonna start off with quickly. You guys want to run through the top performers of the week?
Let's do it because there's
Get it.
some surprisers up there.
There are some
Surprises.
surprises.
Number one tight end, Travis Kelce, 36 points and more in some other leagues. And then Darren Waller, 22.8, Mark Andrews, 22.3, TJ Hawkinson's 19.6, and Dallas Goedert, 18.7. I mean, those are pretty big.
Okay, so here's the thing about that tight end list that you just read. Those are 5 tight ends that were being drafted very high to be in those exact positions.
For the first time all year, I think TJ or Dallas was a little lower, but he was probably like 7 or 8. But those top,
Yeah, he wasn't too
are
bad,
like
but those top
4
4,
of the top 5, right?
absolutely.
So that's good to see them all there. The only top guy that wasn't in there was George Kittle because he wasn't horrible either. He was
No, he
just
actually,
underneath.
to be honest with you, for tight ends, I wouldn't be surprised. Do you have the full list there? He's probably like 7 or 8, maybe.
Yeah, I don't have the full list anymore, but I can pander there quickly. So Kittle, I know, was doing nothing until about
Took him second half to get it going when Purdy was kind of targeting him a little bit.
we can talk about Brock Purdy in a little bit if you guys want, but I don't want to piss any of the Brock Purdy stands off. But we'll see.
Or get us canceled as you deep throat the microphone.
I didn't deep throat it. That's just like the people on network television. So if Dallas Goedert was 5, Kittle was 8, 13 points. So
Yeah, that's what I said, about 7 or 8.
So yeah, nothing really surprising there. Kelsey's a machine. It's good to see Waller coming back
Hey,
alive.
the thing about Kelsey that had me up in arms this week was that he had like 145 yards in the first half,
Yep.
and ended with 172, I think it was, and he had that touchdown, and yeah, so
Let's talk about the receivers. Your number one wide receiver on the week is the number one wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings, and that is
Double J here again.
nah, bro. No, Jordan Addison.
Jordan Addison had a game.
33.3 points. So is Double J really good, or is it all Captain Kirk? At number 2, we've got AJ Brown at 29.7 points. At number 3, we've got Tyreek Hill, 25.8. At number 4, we've got Josh Downs, 25.5 points, and then Dave's boy Puka Nakua, 23.4 points. Surprise obviously is Downs and Addison, but Addison being that big is surprising. But is it? I mean,
So I don't think it's super surprising.
I don't think so
Um,
either.
Kirk
I
first
think-
forces the ball to Double J, and now he's
He does.
forcing the ball to Addison. So
I don't necessarily think he's forcing it, but I think that Addison, he's had some targets throughout the season so far. I mean, he's never had a blow up game. Like this was a blow up game for him. We know that. But he's scored touchdowns. I mean, he wasn't like a start worthy. He might have been like a flex play in a deep league, but other than that, it's not super surprising. And like you said, Kirk's. I mean, he might have forced it a little bit into Addison this past week, but you're right. That's what he does. He locks on a target, and I mean, it's easy to do when you have Justin Jefferson, who's
it must be easy
an
to do
absolute
when you have,
beast.
Jordan Addison too, because
Apparently.
that was against the best defense in the NFL, right? So
Yeah, that's what they say.
right. So Dave, talk to me about your boy Pook.
I mean, it's good to see, man. It's good to see that he's still getting the yardage. He's still getting the targets. I mean, it's what's really kind of sad, and I think this is going to go for both, Puka owners and Cooper Kupp owners, is like we really see like at this point when Stafford has 2 good wide receivers that it doesn't matter that he has 2 good wide receivers. It just kind of like depends on which one he's looking at that game, because we saw Kupp like blow up and Puka not do much of anything the game before that, and then flip the script this week. It's like
Mhm.
I think both of these wide receivers are going to have value. They're both going to have really good weeks, and I think they're both going to have some duds where the other one is just kind of targeted like 15 times. So
Yeah, I agree. And in most of my leagues that I'm in, I noticed that if you had Cooper Kupp and you were stashing him and you were able to pick up Nakua, now your team is just a headache because you don't know which one to start, but you just start both of them and you should be okay.
Or
Yeah.
trade.
or trade.
Or make a trade, yeah, but I mean, I guess I would take the points on both receivers, so
I mean, I'm not one.
both
to
of those
ever-
guys together
I
both of
can't
those
start
guys
2
together
receivers on the same team. I can't
can
do it.
be I'm not that way either. I can't do it either, and I don't even like having both of like multiple players on the same team on my roster, even if I don't start one. But excuse me. But most of the guys that have both of those players start them both. It's crazy.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. Like, and I know what Adam said. Like, starting a running back and a receiver from the same team is a headache, but starting 2 receivers from the same team, I don't think I've ever done it, and I don't think I could. And obviously, I don't consider Kupp a loser. I don't consider Puka. I mean, I do consider Puka a winner, but I think the real loser in all of this is Tyler Higbee. Just cut him. He's dead. He's dead.
Yeah, he's no longer needed.
Tyler
And
Higbee.
he started when Kupp was out on IR. Higbee was getting more targets. Now that they're both there, he's irrelevant.
And I'm also unimpressed with Mr. Matthew Stafford because I've been starting him in a league, and now he has both these good options. Do you guys know how many multiple touchdown games Matthew Stafford has this year?
I think he's only got 3.
One
Okay.
game, one game with 2 touchdowns, and all the rest are 0 or 1. So the receivers are doing good because of yardage and receptions, but Matt Stafford really isn't. And, I kind of was hoping he would because I picked him up in a league where I lost Richardson, and he's not. But I have other plans for that we'll talk about later. So, and then we do have to mention Josh Downs. Do you believe, obviously we don't think Josh Downs is going to be number 4 wide receiver overall the rest of the year, but do you believe him? Is he worth starting?
Yeah, I definitely think he's worth starting, especially Gardner Minshew taking over for Richardson. Those guys lost targets to Richardson's ability to run the ball. Gardner Minshew's not going to do that. and he spread the ball out, and he did that last week. Pittman got involved finally. I know fantasy managers have been frustrated with Michael Pittman because he was this not. I'm not saying he was a stud last year, but he had good games, and he was definitely worth a wide receiver 2 start. But in the beginning of the season, he was nowhere near my start, even in a flex play. I'm okay with starting
I
either
do
of
need to
those guys.
challenge you. I need to challenge you on this because I think you're a little off on Pittman. I'm trying to pull him up right now. I was going to say, I do think you start Downs in a flex. Michael Pittman, to me, is a number 2 wide receiver. I start him in our other league, and he was my 4th receiver taken. He's got more points than Jamar Chase. He's got more points than CeeDee Lamb, and he's got more points than the other guys on my team, I know for a fact. So, like, Michael Pittman is actually tearing it up. I'm trying to just pull up here where his points are for the year. So for the
That's what I'm looking
season,
forward to.
here we go.
Give me a
All right,
second.
Pittman is so Pittman is 11. So he's ahead of like Christian Kirk, Mike Evans. I know, but injuries, but it counts. He's ahead of Christian Kirk, Mike Evans, Brandon Ayuk, Terry McLaurin, Chris Olave, Hollywood Brown, George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Zay Flowers.
Okay, so you're right. He has done a little bit better than I thought.
Devontae Smith, Michael
Yeah,
Thomas.
no, you're right about that.
Oh.
I will take back what I said about Michael Pittman, but
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Um,
So I do think Downs is worth starting in a flex, and I would say with even before Minshew came in, Michael Pittman is clear wide receiver 2 in fantasy football, near wide receiver 1. Honestly, like I know I was talking to Dave in another league about maybe making a trade for Bijan Robinson, and I was thinking about putting Pittman in a deal, but like Pittman is my number 1 wide receiver in that league, and that's ahead of Jamar Chase and CeeDee Lamb, right? So it's like, and I don't think
yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, you're right about that. I'm looking at his numbers. I was off a little bit there,
Yeah.
so my bad.
But that makes me think they
But
both
either way,
they're valid.
but I think they're both worthy of a start.
I do. I agree. Dave, what is your take on Downs?
I mean, I think Downs is the truth. I think, honestly, I don't see a wide receiver 2 inside Indy, outside of Downs. I know there was looks at Alec Pierce. I know, there's guys floating around there, but I feel like
did I miss on that guy?
I liked him in the beginning of the season.
I did too. He was my sleeper of the year.
Yeah.
I thought he could come in and play, and then this emergence of Downs, it's Alec Pierce is just non-existent.
No. So I mean,
So-
I think it's pretty clear that Downs has kind of earned the number 2 spot in that pecking order. It's clear that Minshew likes him. He's looking for him. And a lot like
I
Adam
agree.
said, like Minshew's not taking off on you. He's going to sling it. So there's going to be opportunities there, I think, for both receivers.
Do you think, Dave, that there's any chance that they trade Michael Pittman? The reason I say this is coming close to his contract. He's starting to chirp a little bit. He's starting to chirp like Devontae Adams. He complained at the end of this game that he's not, getting the ball enough. When we just went over, he's a top 11 fantasy receiver, which means he's getting the ball, right?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, you're right. But last week he only had 2 receptions, and one of them was a long one for a touchdown. It was like 75 yards or something like that. So I think maybe that's where the frustration is coming in, because I mean, if you look before, he was getting like 8 catches, 9 catches, 9 catches. Then he had a couple weeks ago he had 5 catches, and then 9, and then this week was 2, and it was like, all right. But I mean, Downs was on fire this past week, so like you couldn't.
So, but
not
like,
throw to him. So
do they trade him, Dave? They just paid. They just paid. They just paid
Taylor.
JP. They don't have to pay their quarterback for a while. They're going to have to either give him a deal or trade him, right?
Is he in a contract year this year?
It's either this year or next year. He was drafted in the same year as Taylor. Was he, or was he the year after? He was 2020 or 2020. I think it's the same year as T. Higgins, and T. Higgins is in a contract year, right?
Okay, so Michael Pittman was drafted in 2020.
Yeah, and that's the same year as Higgins. So
Yeah.
if
So
Higgins-
and then he is an unrestricted free agent next season.
Yes.
Next in 2024. So
You
out of
listen-
the season.
Are you listening, Brandon Bean? I know people want to throw out these big names, but what about a nice, big young receiver? Huh? What about no? You're not listening, Brandon Bean. But I'll make this statement about the Colts. They're trading Zach Moss. Zach Moss will be on a new team next week. That's what I'm going to say because they're still featuring him. You'll never get any better value on Zach Moss than right now. So, are you listening? Are you listening, Baltimore? Are you listening, Cleveland? Places that need a running back. You guys listening? Maybe even Kansas City. I mean, who knows?
That's kind of what I was thinking. I was thinking we're going to see Zach Moss in a Baltimore uniform real soon here.
Yeah, I do think that.
I just saw a report today that they were interested in Derrick Henry, so we'll see if that actually happens. Because to me, Tennessee,
perfect fit.
and they just got rid of Kevin Byard. Oh my God, he went to the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles already had a good defense. Byard's a stud. Just everything else sucks in Tennessee. So to me, that says Tennessee is tanking, or maybe they're not tanking, but they're going to go with. I think Levis is time is coming very soon.
No, Levis
we'll see what happens.
This week, I think they said, didn't they?
No, they said it, and then Vrabel came out and was like, "Oh, I never said that. If Ryan doesn't play, then we're gonna play both of these guys, meaning Willis and Levis." But I think Levis gets the nod.
Okay.
But we'll see.
All right, let's move to the top performing running backs of the week. At number 5 running back, you had, of course, at 22.6. At number 4, you had Ass Etienne at 22.7. Finally, the rookie, Jahmyr Gibbs, shows up, 27.6. You going to keep using him, Dan Campbell? Nah, probably not.
Nah.
And then you had Adams' boy, Alvin Kamara, 29.
He's my savior.
He's your savior, 29.3.
He is my savior.
And then the number 1 option, bumbling, making Dan Campbell jealous because he's so slow and bumbly. You got Deontay Foreman at 33 points, 3 touchdown game. Who would have saw it coming? I mean, I claimed at the beginning of the season that that's Chicago's best running back, and then by week 2, he's not dressed. And then he probably got more points than any other Chicago running back the last 2 weeks. So maybe Chicago.
Yeah, I actually. Late in all my drafts, I actually drafted Foreman to sit on my bench, thinking, "Oh, he could be their starter at some point." And now we're in week 8, and I needed room, so I ended up dropping him a couple weeks ago. But it was frustrating to watch somebody who drafted Foreman for this reason, and then watch somebody else get his points because they needed to throw in running back for a bye week or something. So.
Do you think he, Dave, no pun intended, runs away with the job?
I wouldn't be surprised. I also wouldn't be surprised if Roschon gets some looks. I think what we can honestly say, though, is like Herbert is out. Is
he? Wasn't he the starter the whole year? I mean,
he was.
To be fair,
then he gets hurt.
I know you like Roschon Johnson, but the dude's done nothing in the league, right? He hasn't had a chance, of course, but he's done nothing in the league. And you just had the huge game from Foreman, and then so he's earned playing time. And then when Herbert comes back, is he going to lose his job to Roschon, who's done nothing? Right?
I think he's already lost it to Foreman. I really do.
That's what I'm saying. So Foreman's your number 1.
Yeah,
so
Foreman's your number 1.
Why would Roschon win number 2 over the old starter? Because Roschon hasn't done anything, right? Like it's just kind of like.
For whatever reason, Chicago has just shown that they just don't believe in Herbert. They just don't believe in him. And I feel like them drafting Roschon Johnson just kind of like even solidifies that even further of like, and like, if you don't believe in somebody long-term and they're not producing on the field, there's nothing there for you. You know what I mean? And I just feel like Chicago for the longest time has just been like, we're not about Herbert. He's just kind of on our roster and like he's not making any noise, so we don't have to get rid of him, and he's cheap. And like I feel like that time is just going to come to an end where they're like, I'm sorry, like we're sorry, bro, but we just don't believe in you. Like we don't believe in you and we don't need you. And like
sometimes a player is better as a number 2. Maybe that's Herbert. Nobody's going to agree because he's had one big play this year, but it kind of to me looks like Tony Pollard was better as a number 2. Because now he's a number 1. I mean, he's whatever. He's had that one big reception, but he hasn't set the world on fire, right?
Right.
That's true.
Everybody thought Pollard, oh my God, Zeke's gone, Pollard to the top, right? And he's not shown that, right? Sometimes, you know, it's like the backup goalie is always the most popular fucking guy in town in hockey, right? So it's like sometimes people are meant to be a number two. Seems like Pollard's at. Is Stevenson that way? Because Stevenson was the number two until the end of last year, and now look at him this year as the bona fide number one, right? So sometimes you're better served as a number two. And I just think that maybe that's who Herbert is. So maybe Herbert, and I've said it before, it's that classic. It was what DeAndre Swift last year behind Bumbles. Bumbles pounding. They give one fucking handoff to Swift. He goes 15 yards, right? And then they make him sit down.
Yeah.
It's just kind of how that works. Now Swift is one of like a top 10 running back in the league this year right now.
Yeah.
But, so he's proven he's a number one, right? But like some guys can't be number ones. They're number twos for a reason. And I know bringing in Pollard to this conversation, I think is relevant because Pollard and Herbert are the same guy in that aspect.
They really are. Yeah.
They just had higher expectations for Pollard, and sure, he's a top 10 fantasy back, but the running back, we had this conversation via text. As shitty as everyone's shitting on like Bijan Robinson because he's been having a bad week, he's a top 10 fantasy back. He's ahead of Tony Pollard, right? You know what I mean? Like, so as bad as like Bijan is, especially having a 0.3 game, Tony Pollard has less points and he's still like a top 15 back. So the skew is going to be, well, Tony Pollard's a top 15 back, but that's not the expectations on somebody like that. People are expecting Tony Pollard to be like the next Christian McCaffrey. I'm not saying
the expectations for running backs this year were it's where they're drafted, and Dallas losing Zeke and seeing what Pollard did last year with Zeke. So he was being drafted in the second, third rounds, right? Mostly second. Most of my leagues, he went in the second round.
Talking about Pollard,
and I'm guilty of it because I needed a running back in the second round, and he was the only one available by the time it got back to me.
I had Pollard go in the first in a couple weeks.
So I took Pollard, on my way back in the second round. So, yeah, I mean, like to your point, with maybe you're better off as a second guy, but who knows, really? Because I mean, Pollard is still getting his, but Dak has just not been good, and that really affects Pollard's numbers.
It's the death of the running back position, is what it is.
That too, yeah. I mean, it's a passing league. I mean, look at all these quarterbacks that are, that got paid stupid money, and all they do is throw the ball.
It's very true. So that's just somewhere I want to go. Dave, if you had. So you're out on you're obviously out on Herbert.
Did you say the number one running back? You did. Kamara was two, right?
Yeah, Foreman.
Oh, Foreman was one. That's right.
But Dave, do you hold on to any Pollard? Just since we're on the discussion, I have no Pollard shares. Do you have any Pollard, Dave?
I have no Pollard shares either. I mean, as much as I was high on him, I mean, I was high on him, but not nearly as high as everybody else. He was one of those players where it's like, I know I'm not getting Tony Pollard. Like, if he's miraculously there where I think you should grab him, I'll grab him, but he was never there.
So that's the same thing for me. It's like he went in the first round, and I was like, great, have him. And, it's just, the end of the year is approaching. We're already halfway through the fantasy season. So, like, the end of the year is coming. Running backs are going to start scoring a little more because they're going to be bad weather, running the ball, all that kind of stuff. Maybe. Who knows? But, like, you're 7 weeks into the season. And if I do it real quick, I won't run through everything, but here we're 7 weeks into the season. I'm going to pull up PPR stats. So we're going to go running backs. We're going to see. So running backs, all players, running backs. All right. For the season. And we're going to see how many of these guys halfway through the season have 100 points. All right. So season total. All right. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 running backs halfway through their season have 100 points. That's it.
Christian McCaffrey has 400.
Christian McCaffrey has. I'll give you guys at home a breakdown. We'll go. We won't go as fast. The number one running back so far, PPR rankings. Christian McCaffrey, 170 points. Number 2, Raheem Mostert, 145. Number 3, Ass Etienne at 138. Number 4 on IR now, Kyron Williams, 111. Number 5, Zach Moss, 110. So those two guys are going to go plummeting, right?
Right.
Number 6, DeAndre Swift, 106. Number 7, a guy we all whiffed on, Kenneth Walker at 104. Number 8, Isaiah Pacheco, 103. And most of his stuff has came from receiving. He's gotten a lot of receiving touchdowns. Number 8, guy's been on IR for 2 weeks and didn't start for 2 weeks. Devin Achane has 101 points in like 5 games.
Kyron Williams also hasn't started for 2 weeks, so for him to still be up there is crazy too.
And that's it. And number 9, like we stated before, is Bijan Robinson. So, and then here we go. Josh Jacobs is there. Or Bijan's at 95. So Bijan, and then Josh Jacobs at 94. So Bijan and Josh Jacobs are your 9th and 10th overall running backs on the year, and everybody thinks they're doing bad, right? Are they? I mean, it's just the whole position's doing bad, right? Now, to be fair to Tony Pollard, he is at 10, 11. He's your 12th running back at 91 with a bye week. So he maybe have 100 points. So he might be, a 100-point guy. But still, you're halfway through the season and you only have 9 running backs with 100 points. That's wild.
It's obviously a different league.
Yeah.
It's wild to me. So I just wanted to put those numbers together. Adam, how many games did Alvin Kamara miss?
3.
He is your 15th player at 86 points with 3.
I know.
15th.
And Joe knows too.
Saquon Barkley missed 3 games and left injured. He's 16.
Let me tell you this too about Alvin Kamara and why I love him this much. He missed 3 games. He's up near the top of the list and probably going to maintain up there. He might finish a top 5 running back, even missing the first 3 games. But he is scoring points without scoring touchdowns. And that's crazy. He's getting like listen to this. He comes back week 4, right? Gets 11 carries for 51 yards, no touchdowns. 13 receptions. Don't get me wrong, it was only for 33 yards. But having 13 catches in any game is insane. Next game, 22 carries for 80. They went a little bit more heavy on the rush there, and that was against New England. He scores a touchdown there. Three receptions for only 17 yards. Houston, 19 carries, 68 yards, 7 receptions for 36. So they went a little bit they're kind of evening out now. Last week against Jacksonville, last Thursday, it was a pretty much an even split. 17 carries for 62 yards, and he has 12 catches for 91 yards. Like, it's wild. And he has 1 touchdown in 4 games.
And you know why that is, Adam? Because I said it in the offseason, and you guys argued me. Saints Joe argued me. Derek Carr sucks. He is not a good quarterback. He's an average quarterback. And guess what? He's got shitty receiving options, right? Because Chris Olave and Michael Thomas. No, those are great receivers. And what is this motherfucker doing? Throwing to Alvin Kamara for 1-yard gains. Because Derek Carr is a average NFL quarterback. And we had those arguments, and this is not a pro-Atlanta argument because Atlanta is the first in the division, but, I mean, it's only halfway through the season, but, like, this is an anti-Saints argument. This is an anti-Derek Carr argument. He's not it. And if the Saints were smart, I know Jameis Winston throws interceptions. Okay, he's going to throw touchdowns too. So, like, Jameis Winston has 5,000 passing seasons and 40 passing touchdown seasons. So you're really being conservative, and you know I hate it, by putting in Derek Carr. So I hope you're happy with your 1-yard check down passes. I know you're happy as an Alvin Kamara starter, and me too. I have Alvin Kamara. 2 other leagues.
I got Alvin Kamara in 3 out of 5 leagues, and I just
Kamara with Drew Brees averaged, or I think 3 consecutive years, Alvin Kamara had 31 or 81 receptions, 3 years in a row with Drew Brees. He's like halfway there already in like 4 games.
In 4 games.
So it's ridiculous. So,
but Drew Brees can throw the ball more than 20 yards.
Yeah. Well, not the end of his career, but yeah. So the whole Derek Carr nonsense. Unless I want everyone to be watching. Ready, guys? I'm making one of these here. I
will say while you're doing this that I was high on Derek Carr this year. I'll flip the script. Get him out of here. Yeah. He's awful. He really is.
Yeah.
Put Jameis Winston in. Put Jameson.
hit the drop because Derek Carr is in the fantasy graveyard. I am okay with not starting him. Don't pick him up if you need a guy. I know he did well against the Jaguars, 300 yards.
Sure.
300 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Not great stats. Like the yards are, people who don't know fantasy football, the yards are a very small portion of a quarterback's total. It's
300 yards for everyone at home.
every 5 yards is 1.
Yeah, Adam, pause for yourself for a second. You're breaking up. 300 yards. I think what you're trying to say is 300 yards is 12 points, right, Dave? You get 4 points for 100 yards. Is that right?
Yeah,
Correct.
So it's
300 yards is 12 points, which is fine. It's fine, right? I mean, the touchdowns is where you make the mark, and you're just breaking up. So
it's fine, but you figure that most quarterbacks that you're starting are gonna go for at least like 200, 220. So I mean, the point differential when you're talking just yards on quarterbacks isn't the same. If your running back goes for 20 yards and another running back goes for 100 yards, that's a big deal. But a quarterback going for 220 and another quarterback going for 300, that point differential just isn't as valuable.
And that's why somebody like me values people like Lamar Jackson, the running quarterbacks more, because Dave, what would 300 rushing yards be for a quarterback?
Nice little 30 burger. Plus,
right,
they're gonna get in the end zone at some point if they got 300 yards.
Right.
So.
Yeah, Adam, you sound like you're better again. So all right, we'll move on to quarterback.
Am I back? I'm back, boys. Sorry.
So we're going to move on to quarterbacks because we're spending a lot of time on this because there is something to talk about. All right, your number 5 quarterback on the week. These are all big named quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts, 24.2 points, and then even better in real life, Josh Allen, 25.3 points, and even better in real life, Gardner Minshew, 28.1 points. Okay, throwing some shade. And then at your number 2 position was Lamar Jackson, 33.8 points, and your number 1 position was Patrick Mahomes at 34.8 points. So Lamar and Pat were 1 point apart. They both murdered it. Adam hates Lamar, we know. But Lamar, I think Lamar's put himself in the MVP talk, guys, in the NFL, because this guy is playing out of his mind.
I mean, after one game, I'm not ready to go MVP yet. They have, I think 2 or less wins than Patrick Mahomes, but this team is a completely different team. Everybody loves the Lions, right? Lions favorite to win the fucking Super Bowl. They have the greatest coach ever. They have this explosive offense. They have, Jared Goff being reborn. They got blown out of the fucking water by the end of the first quarter. Lamar Jackson could not be stopped, and he threw one of the best passes of the year into the back of the end zone to Zay Flowers. So I'm just giving Lamar a lot of love. And Patrick Mahomes, we expect Patrick Mahomes. And I expect Lamar Jackson to be up there. We expect Josh Allen to be up there. We expect Jalen Hurts to be up there. Gardner Minshew, guys, is this something? Is Gardner Minshew startable for fantasy football? Adam, who are you? You dropped him, didn't you, this past week? I think you did. Do you regret that because you still have Deshaun Watson on your roster? No, I do regret it because I went matchup based, and I went to the 49ers last week. I kind of got a little there. I kept dropping Minshew and I picked up Geno Smith because he had a better.
That fart gets you every time.
In the league, but I would have kept.
Okay, I don't know. Something's going on with your connection, Adam. So get yourself stable again. But Dave, what about you? How you feel about Gardner Minshew? I mean, we've talked about how you could start Howell, you could start Ritter. To be honest, I'm more comfortable with Gardner than those guys.
I always thought Gardner Minshew was a startable quarterback. I mean, even in Jacksonville. I mean, it's the Minshew magic is a real thing. You know what I mean? I don't know how this dude always pulls the fucking rabbit out of his ass and figures this out and becomes relevant, but he always does. And I feel like, for especially you made the best example. If you're a guy that ended up waiting on quarterback and you left your league with Deshaun Watson. I mean, yeah, Gardner Minshew is a great option for you.
This is who Gardner is, and Dave, this is going to blow your mind. Adam, this is going to blow your mind. I've got the perfect comp. Gardner Minshew right now, and I've said this for
on the top of your phones right now, boys.
Yahoo Fantasy. Kamara is my savior. Added Gardner Minshew and dropped Deshaun Watson.
Wow.
So what I was about to say, and you guys are gonna blow your minds. Gardner Minshew, I've said for the past like 3 years, is the best backup quarterback in the NFL, and Gardner Minshew is the reincarnation of Ryan Fitzpatrick. This is who he is. Comes in with magic. He's going to play good for a few games, and then in about 3-4 weeks, he's going to be dog shit probably. But like, ride the magic while you got it. That's how Fitz was. I started Fitzpatrick 10 years ago in a few fantasy leagues. Like, and that's who Gardner Minshew is. He is Fitzmagic 2.0, except he's a little mobile. I mean, Fitz was a little mobile, but it's not even mobile as much as like they're just dogs and they want to win. Gardner Minshew had 2 rushing touchdowns last week. 2 rushing touchdowns last week, and one of them was like 15 yards. Like that's far for like a slower quarterback. So
Agree.
Props to Gardner. He's definitely startable. I think, 11, 12, 13. He's definitely, for now, ride that magic while you got it. Don't maybe drop your starting quarterback unless it's Deshaun Watson, because, hey, I was wrong on Deshaun Watson. I thought he was going to break out. He was my sleeper quarterback, right? And I was completely.
I drafted him in a lot of so I went Deshaun right after this. So
is it just me, or is Adams messing up? Is that
it's like
right. Adam, just
echoey.
leave and come back. All right, leave and restart everything.
all right, don't.
And we'll talk shit about you while you're gone. So leave and
All right, hold up. Let me try this again.
yeah, just leave the room and come back. It might just
Yep.
restart for you. So, and then all right, so he's gone. That little bitch.
I knew it was coming.
That little
I knew it was
bitch is
coming.
gone. See,
But
we
yeah,
just did that because we wanted to pick up. Now we can pick up Deshaun Watson. No, thank you.
I ain't picking it up. Yeah, I ain't picking up Deshaun Watson. But yeah,
he's labeled out, by the way, for this week again. Or he's not labeled out, but they said he's not playing this week. Deshaun Watson, yeah.
I mean, is it really an injury or is it just really saving face?
Is he just done? Like,
I don't know what happened to him, man. I really don't, because it's like, I was right there with you, man. I feel like Deshaun had like some left in the tank. This is last year was last year. Now he's got a full off season. He's got full OTAs, full preseason. He should be primed. He's healthy, and like, I don't know what's going on.
It's off. So Adam's back. So we'll see how he's doing. And this segment took a lot longer than I expected. So let's keep on rolling, baby, and let's get a little funky with an original segment.
Instead of swing, Xavier goes down the middle, slam dunk.
Get dunked on, bro.
And I'm starting this right away because I've got someone to dunk on, and that is Arthur Smith. Now, you guys know I like Bijan Robinson, but this is like bad on all accounts for us fantasy players that started Bijan Robinson, for bettors, for just the NFL. They're already launching an investigation. He said in the press conference that Bijan was experiencing a headache on Saturday night. He was not on the injury report whatsoever. Nobody knew. I was texting you guys in the third quarter, like, Bijan doesn't even have a carry. What's going on? And then it comes out that he has a headache. And I'm not going to shit on Bijan because I know that, like, remember Percy Harvin? Like, migraines can be debilitating. So I don't mean to shit on Bijan Robinson. But they did not put this guy in the game. They gave him 1 fucking carry in the 4th. Then Arthur Smith is at the press conference and he's like, well, I mean, Bijan wasn't feeling well. I mean, he played. He was in there. No, that's called CYA, covering your ass, because you're fucked in the sense of, like, nothing major, but they're going to get a fine, because it even says in the NFL bylaws that, if a player is injured, sick, something like that, to the point of like their role as their normal role will be reduced. Bijan Robinson, I watch all his games because I'm a fan. His role is not 1 carry. That is not his role.
Yeah.
It was reduced. And the simple fact, again, it's not a slight towards Bijan Robinson. He should have been on the injury report. He should have been out of that game. They left him there. The sole purpose to leave him in there was to fuck with the other team. Was it Tampa? was to fuck with Tampa,
Oh yeah, they played Tampa.
and they beat them. They beat Tampa, so maybe it was worth it. But like, and for all the Bijan guys out there like myself, relax. It sucked. It's anger, but it makes me like Bijan more. How many carries did Cordell Patterson have? 14?
Too many.
Right? So Algier and Cordell Patterson, I think, had like 33 carries between them. So like, I'm not like worried about Bijan. I mean, I know his usage isn't great, but like, I'm not mad at him for being the headache. It's Arthur Smith, and that is fucked up. That is somebody trying to be Bill Belichick, and Bill Belichick rarely gets caught. Right? So you can't outsmart the greatest. So that's my dunk.
I I totally agree with you. I don't know. I don't understand what the thought process was there. And I understand that one carry was exactly what you said, was a save your ass play to be like, look, he was on the field, but like, I don't know. It was way too shady and just way too weird.
And I saw, when I was watching that game, like I looked at Bijan, like he didn't look good, and then people are joking, like, "Oh, he was partied, he was hungover." Maybe it was okay, but then like that's still an injury, that's an illness. Like that's if it is what it is, like migraines can be debilitating. Thankfully, I don't suffer them. My sister-in-law does. Like she's like in bed when she has them, and I know like Percy Harvin and Dave, you've been in the medical world, you get it. So like it's not a slight to that. It's just, and they never even said migraine. But like, if the guy's sick, he should have been on the thing, and that screws up the NFL. That screws up our fantasy. That screws up betting and parlays. Like fucking like, if you picked Bijan Robinson to have 25 carries and he has one, like, and now with the embracing of the betting, I can actually see this being a big fine, especially with the embracing of the betting.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's definitely going to be a fine, especially if he was feeling these symptoms prior to the game and prior to Sunday. Like he should have at least been on. He should have been questionable for Sunday's game, and then, that at least would have allowed people to either figure out a replacement for him or not put him in your parlays. I know a lot of betting apps, and I get all the notifications from all the sports books and everything, that a lot of them were voiding the pick of Bijan because he didn't do anything.
That's actually nice.
So it was nice, yeah. So a lot of them, they'll either void the entire bet or they just get rid of that leg and then they give you the odds difference.
And that's crazy because they don't do that if Bijan got hurt in the game. They're doing that because that's part of the game. Like the shadiness of the whole situation is what they're covering for. So, it's bullshit. But all right, Adam, what are you dunking on?
I got to dunk on the NFL for just burning the image of Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes doing this god-awful touchdown celebration handshake that they did after Kelsey scored this touchdown. Is Taylor Swift great for the NFL? Absolutely, because all these fucking people and all these little teeny, boppers that were never watching football before, they tune in to NFL games now for the chance that Taylor Swift is going to be on TV. Oh my God, is she at the game? What are they going to do? What is this? What is that? But for everybody else, I'm tired of it. I don't know if you guys are tired of it, but it's just, I'm over it, and I'm dunking on the NFL. Like, that's their content right now, and it's driving me absolutely bonkers.
Well, you got to understand the football sucks, the referees suck, so like they got to.
True. I guess they got to do something.
I'm
Maybe
over
they
it.
should go to the entertainment side of things.
I'm over it to the point of I don't even care. Show her, don't show her, whatever. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's where I am.
And that's kind of where I'm at too. Like, great, she's gonna be there, sure, if that's a thing, whatever. But like, I don't need to see these two in their handshake. And it was like a minute-long handshake that they just sat there and they were doing this thing with their hand. I'm like, I gotta get up and get a drink or something.
All right, Dave, what are you dunking on?
I don't want to be this guy, but do you think Mahomes looks up from the field, like into the box, and like sees T Swift and then like sees Brittany and is like, damn, I fucked up.
I could have just waited.
If I would have just waited till after that contract, All right. Today's gonna be a big day for me, boys.
Sorry.
I know one man especially is gonna be excited about this, and I hate doing this because I love the dude, but I'm dunking on the one and only Mr. Austin Eckler. Bro, I love you, homie. I love you, but I drafted you as a number one in so many leagues, and
did.
like I don't even need to say anything. Everybody knows, like we know, you know, I know. Let's just the past is the past, water under the bridge. But like for the rest of these weeks, fucking get it together, bro.
I'm not gonna say I told you so, and it wasn't anti-Austin Eckler. It was just following the coaching and following what they've done with their money and following what they were doing. And it was like you just made Justin Herbert the great, the richest quarterback in the league until Mahomes beat it, and you just invested a first-round pick in a receiver that you don't use, and Saints Joe thinks is a top 5 receiver. All of a sudden,
I believe it was Burrow who beat Herbert.
and then
out.
Mahomes, Mahomes beat Burrow by the next day. But
And-
either way, yeah. And like it just was following the trends. Like they're going down the field more, and that's why I was pumped. You guys know my fantasy crushes was Keenan Allen and Justin Herbert, and my Nabra was Austin Eckler because I saw this shift coming, and it's you know what I know he was injured, but it's been 7 weeks now, injured or not, the offense is different. This is a different offense, injured or not. So it doesn't mean I don't think Austin Eckler is going to get you 5 points every week. He's going to have another 20-point game. He's going to get you your 12, 13. But Dave, you didn't draft him second overall for 12, 13 points.
No, and I think I'll be the first to say that like I did see this shift coming, and I think if you go back and listen to the episodes, like I did see this shift coming. I just didn't see it being this severe, and I think
This drastic, yeah. I agree.
and I think the straw that finally broke the camel's back for me was like this week, especially because it's a game where you need Austin Eckler to do what Austin Eckler does, and that's fucking catch 2-yard balls and take them 20 yards down the field. That's what you needed because you were down in that game to KC, and the KCD was playing good against your wide receivers, and you needed Austin Eckler to be that guy. And it's like you're still out there fucking running Josh Kelly while Austin Eckler is sitting there with what he had. He had 1 catch for 2 yards. Like how is that even possible in a game script where he should have had like 8 or 9 targets, even if they're trying to pull back on that scheme? It's like, it's almost like they're making a point now. It's not even so much about winning the game. It's just like they're just making a point of not making Eckler a receiving back.
Josh
Yeah.
Kelly's stats for the game: 7 carries, 75 yards, 1 touchdown. So he's not getting the carries. He's just doing a lot more with the carries. But in years past, those would have been Eckler's carries. So I don't really know why they're doing this whole 2-3 running back thing that they always do when they have a guy like Austin Eckler on their roster.
I just think we get enamored as fantasy football players, and we should, with his stats and what he does, and he might not be as good as we think, just because he puts up the stats and the numbers. NFL coaches have never liked him. At least that team, they won't give him a contract, right? Like they just won't. Nobody's trying to trade for him. So like maybe we're just enamored with his stats, and maybe he's not that good. I don't know. Like maybe that's what it is. I'm trying to shit on the guy. Obviously, the last 2 years he's put up the numbers for fantasy football, but look what they traded to get Christian McCaffrey. In the fantasy world, we hold him and Christian McCaffrey, almost on the same level, at least the past 2 years. The NFL clearly doesn't, right? Right? So, like, maybe we're not seeing that he's not that good. I don't know. I mean, he was not a high draft pick. He was behind Melvin Gordon. Then Melvin Gordon wanted a big contract. They said, fuck you. They started him for a few years. He got his good years. Now he wants a contract. They're saying, fuck you. And what happened when Melvin Gordon left? He was mid. So, like, maybe we're just blinded by it. So, I don't know. And we just saw it coming. So, yeah, get dunked on, Austin Eckler.
Sorry, buddy. I love you, but like less Twitch, more practice. So let's figure this shit out.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep moving because this is actually a long episode.
Time for for a victory lap.
And I'm jumping in because I don't know if Adam was going to do this, but I'm going to steal from him or maybe not. But and he could do it too. But I'm taking a victory lap on myself, but also Adam, because me and Adam had a similar teams kind of in separate leagues. Adam has a team in the Fantasy Football Bros League, and then my league where we got murdered last week with buys, right? So I'll just, Adam, if you want to pull up your bye weeks from last week, you could tell them. This is who I was missing last week in my main league. Last week I was missing Jamar Chase, Breece Hall, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, Miles Sanders. All right. That's pretty much my whole starting lineup. So I had to put in some backups, Matt Stafford, and, I have a good bench, but whatever. So guess what, though? With all my starters missing, I fucking won the game. So I'm giving myself a victory lap, and I'm giving Adam a victory lap because he pretty much did the same thing.
Here, you ready for my list of
Adam's
buys?
is even worse. So this is why
Listen,
I'm totally giving
my
Adam a lap.
entire bench was on a bye this past week.
So
week
you're
seven.
starting lineup.
Oh yeah, my entire starting lineup. So Dak Prescott, Chuba Hubbard, who actually had a really good game last week or 2 weeks ago while Miles Sanders was out. So I could have thrown him in the flex for sure. Breece Hall, Jake Ferguson, Derrick Henry, CeeDee Lamb, Tyler Boyd, Dalton Schultz, like entire starting lineup on a bye week. Still got the victory. Only by a couple points, but I will take it for having to muster up this hodgepodge of players. I'm starting guys like Justice Hill, KJ Osborne. I started Zeke Elliott. Geno Smith was my starting quarterback, for Christ's sake.
So, and then, you know what? That's a good play by you and Adam. I'm going to read you off the starting lineup that I had. Okay. And this proves to people out there, like, I am high on benches. I love having bench players. Your bench is a weapon. Don't be sitting there holding on to fucking Jahan Dotson, who's been garbage. Your bench is a weapon. So, Adam, I was out, like I said, Chase, Hall, Lamb, Prescott, right? Pretty big ball, and Sanders, pretty big players. But here's what I ended up starting. And I'm sorry, like I'm not trying to like compare, but I think this team is even better than you fielded, right? This is the team I fielded. Ready?
The team that I fielded, I had no hope for.
This is what I fielded: Matt Stafford, Michael Pittman, Mari Cooper, DeAndre Swift, Aaron Jones, Sam Laporta, Romeo Doubs. I mean, and those are all my backups on that team. So it's like, that's why your bench is a weapon. So it's like, and I guess what I'm just trying to say is use your bench as a weapon. In another league, guys, and I know I don't want to focus on these leagues that don't matter, but here's the thing that I did in the other league. I'm whatever, middling, but my bench is awesome. The person that had Justin Jefferson needed help everywhere because they lost Jefferson, Connor. They didn't draft too well because they're those people that draft 2 kickers, 2 defenses, 2 tight ends. So guess what that means? You have no bench. So I made a trade. I traded away Josh Jacobs and Calvin Ridley for Double J, who's hurt for who knows how long, right? But that's using your bench as a weapon because I traded bench players who are starters. It doesn't matter. Josh Jacobs is starting on most teams. Calvin Ridley starting on most teams. But my bench was so good that I could make that move. And now if Double J comes back, my 2 starting receivers in that league is Double J and Jamar Chase, who are number 1 and 2 overall picks this year. That's using your bench as a weapon. Adam, you proved too, like it's a deeper league too, the Fantasy Football Bros League. So it's hard. So you had to go.
Yeah. So the difference between my roster here and that roster there is that my bench players are not fantasy starting players this year at all. Maybe, I don't even know. Maybe KJ Osborne now, he's getting a little bit more love, but they have Jordan Addison, so it doesn't matter. So maybe you can throw him in a flex, but like Geno Smith, I mean, I'm not starting Geno Smith ever, and nor should anybody else. So, but yeah, I mean, I appreciate that victory lap.
That was for you, buddy. But what's your actual?
Thank you.
What's your actual?
My actual victory lap, though, it is Alvin Kamara, and the reason being is because if you were strong enough to hold on to him for those 3 games, you are getting a PPR monster. The receptions are coming. He's rushing the ball a ton. The touchdowns will come, especially if they leave Derek Carr in. But to the owners who are able to get or even trade for him, trade for him in the early on while he was out if somebody needed help or whatever. Yeah, good on you. Victory lap, Alvin Kamara. Keep doing your thing, please. I'm gonna start you every week. I'll take 13 receptions all day long, and I don't care if it's for 20 yards. That's still 15 points right there.
All right, very good, Dave. What is your victory lap?
I'm gonna start mine off with a little slice of humble pie because I just this is primarily just because a lot of the preseason bets between me and the one and only Chaz here, I do believe Chaz is whooping my ass in about all of them. But I do just want to throw my victory lap out to one and only Mr. Dallas Goddard, who's gonna make sure that I win at least fucking one of them. So let's go, bro. Dallas Goddard,
Yes,
I
love
appreciate
it.
you, bro. Kyle Pitts, suck it.
No, that's great. I love it. That's great.
That's fantastic.
Fantastic. I love
That's
it.
fantastic.
All right, guys. So we're changing things up a bit. We're gonna get
Yeah,
a
let's
more-
do this really quick because we didn't really kind of get into it. I want to do the fantasy graveyard. Do you guys have anybody that you can throw in there this week? Because I do.
Go ahead. Would you?
So my fantasy graveyard this week: Deshaun Watson. Drop him. I know he's hurt again. Get him out of here. Chaz and I, you and I were on the same page. I thought Deshaun Watson was going to come back after having a full off season. He's healthy, but it doesn't matter because now he's hurt again. Get rid of him. Save the room on your bench. Drop him for somebody that you can actually use. Fantasy graveyard. You gain another player this week, and it's Deshaun Watson.
I think Dave already put somebody in there too, right? So we put Carr in there this week. We put
Carr.
Carr.
Yeah, I think Derek Carr deserves it.
Okay,
Deshaun
so
Watson for sure.
So here's what we're doing, folks. We're trying to get a little more preview-y as opposed to even though we just spent an hour on review-y, but we're gonna try to get a little more preview-y, and we're gonna get, have some more TikTok content out there and shorts and stuff. So we got some new segments here. There's no fancy drops yet because I'm the worst producer ever, but we'll get there. So the first one we're gonna do, it's not gonna be as long as all these other ones. These are individual segments, and we're gonna start with me, of course, because I'm the man. Because
It is your show.
All I do is win.
but so we're gonna start with my pick, my player of the week, the guy who I think. So the player of the week is going to be a player or two. I'm not gonna pick Josh Allen at quarterback. I'm not gonna pick Christian McCaffrey. Obviously, those guys are gonna do good. This is a guy who's a little lower. You might have a better starter on your team, and maybe you should consider starting this guy. And I'm going to, and I did it myself, and this is in a lineup. My normal starter in this league is Dak Prescott, and I benched him this week for a guy that I don't like and I'm not high on, but he's been proving me wrong. And this week I am starting CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud has 3 of his last 5 games are all over 21 points. So he's been on fire. He's playing Carolina, quite possibly the worst team in the NFL. And this is CJ Stroud versus Bryce Young.
Hey there, little fella.
So this is number 1 versus number 2 rookie. Obviously, Bryce Young went first. CJ Stroud went second. I wasn't high on either of them, but I was definitely a little more, lower on CJ Stroud, but he's been performing. He's elevated the game on his receivers. His receivers like Tank Dell actually look like something. And the fact that Carolina's one of the worst teams in the league, and he's going to have a little extra fire under his, in his belly to maybe outperform the guy that went first overall. And I'm going to go with CJ Stroud as the start of the week. This is, you guys don't have to go too much, but you guys got anything against that?
I actually love it. I love the play.
love it too. CJ Stroud was available in some of my leagues, and these leagues I'm doing a little bit better in, and I don't have the waiver priority to pick him up, and I was super bummed about it. He's playing great football. I love it. Love that pick. It's great.
In Yahoo leagues, he's 75% rosters. There's a chance he's probably rostered in your league, but go look at it because, we were just talking. You're talking. I mean, you have Dak Prescott in the other league.
I do.
CJ Stroud, I'm sure you'd like to have there as well, and maybe choose between the
Definitely.
two. So that's it. So my start of the week is CJ Stroud. So go check your waiver wire, guys. See if he's out there because he's been playing well. And
He's got a decent matchup against Carolina this week too, so definitely a good start.
All right, so the next preemptive segment, we've got Dave Zag Stone Cold Lock of the Week, a little gambling and betting advice. It could be I'm assuming you're going spread, but it could be spread, it could be over under, it could be money line. So which route are you taking before you give it?
Boys, this week we're betting the house and we're going against the spread.
Going against the spread. So for the spread, for the
Love
people
it.
at home, we'll explain it. If it says, we'll just say Bills and Raiders, okay? We'll just throw these random teams out. If it says Bills -5, Raiders +5, what does that mean, Dave?
Basically, you need to take the final score and you need to take that differential and apply it to the team that it matters to. So if you're looking at a team like the Buffalo Bills that is -5, they need to win that game by at least 6 in order to cover the
So
spread.
let's say it's usually half. So we'll say 5.5. So when it says 5.5, right? So that means the Bills, if the Bills win, if the spread is Bills -5.5, what if the Bills win by 4 points?
They win the game, which is great for the Bills, and they lose against the spread, which is terrible for the bettors.
Right. So what it is, it's just a handicap, basically. So like sometimes you like to pick the team with the plus odds because like in a big game, the Patriots, or let's talk about the Bills Giants game. The Bills Giants game 2 weeks ago, the Giants line was +15.5, which means the Giants could either win the game outright or win by 15 or lose by 15 points, lose by 14 points, lose by 13 points, right? All the way down to losing by 1 point. So
And your bet still hits.
you win that bet if you took the Giants. And what did the Giants lose the game by?
Not 15 points.
One point.
One.
So like that's why like making a bet on the team with the plus odds is sometimes good because you don't that team doesn't have to win the game. They either have to win the game or just lose by less than what the spread is. So hopefully we explain that a little better for people. So all right, Dave. So you're taking the spread. What spread are we talking about?
We are taking the spread this week, and boys, we are taking the Jacksonville Jags, who are a -2.5 against Pittsburgh, and I absolutely love this line, and I know not a lot of people are going to love this line and not a lot of people are going to be on this line, which is why it's so low, but I think this is a stone cold lock. The Jags are winners of 4 straight by 5 points or more, right? When the line is soft like this, it's because Pittsburgh is coming off wins against 2 good teams, Baltimore and the Rams, but I don't think they carry this over to 3 in a row. Jacksonville's D is better than advertised. Jacksonville is 3-1 against the spread and have won 2 games as straight up outright dogs. I think the Jags easily go into Pittsburgh and win this game by a field goal.
And the reason the line is so close because it's a Pittsburgh home game.
It's because it's a Pittsburgh home game, and it's because Pittsburgh is coming off wins against Baltimore and the Rams. And I don't think that the line will ever be this favorable against a Pittsburgh as the opponent the rest of the season.
I like that line. It's a perfect line.
I really like that bet.
I
That's a great bet, Dave.
I could argue that Pittsburgh wins this game. I mean, they really could. It's a home game for Pittsburgh. They've been playing better. But the fact that the line is only 2.5, like you said, a field goal wins the game. That's a great line to jump on because Pittsburgh might win and blow the whole line. But there's a chance that they're tied 20-20 and Jacksonville kicks a field goal and wins the game, right? And then that wins the game for you. So a 2.5 line is a great line to look for in the bet in general. So
Yeah.
I do like that.
I agree.
And
That's
I do
great.
like
That's a great pick.
Trevor Lawrence has got some extra time to recover. This team has had an extra few days coming off the Thursday game last week to prepare for the Pittsburgh team. I see them easily going into Pittsburgh and winning this game by a field goal. It could absolutely, like Chaz said, there's a chance Pittsburgh wins this game and blows the whole line, but there's also a chance that this could be just a Jacksonville blowout very early.
Like, would you be comfortable taking that line if it was Jaguars 5.5?
I would take it 5.5. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I would take them by 2 field goals.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So great line. And then our final news segment of the week, Jay will have his own eventually, but he's not here.
When he gets here.
Adam, we're going to do Adam's Daily Dose. Remember we used to do that? So this is going to be Adam's Daily Dose. He's going to find a couple of daily bargains, perhaps some prop bets that he wants you to know about and put your money on. And I assume Dave has his money on his bet, and I'm assuming Adam will have his money on these bets.
Yeah. So here's the deal, guys. I'm gonna give you a couple guys that can if you're setting a daily lineup on I'm currently looking at FanDuel at the moment.
That's going to be the
But
official sponsor
but
of
you
the podcast. We'll go FanDuel.
yes, you can go on FanDuel, you can go DraftKings. They're usually pretty similar. Um, but I prefer FanDuel, and for those
do
of
I.
you guys listening now, just know that I'm using FanDuel right now. I got a couple guys here that are pretty cheap, and if you're looking, if you fill out your roster and you got all kinds of big name guys, you got Josh Allen as your quarterback, he's probably pretty expensive. You got, Jamar Chase, who's probably pretty expensive, right? So this guy is going to be somebody that I'm looking at right now, and that's Jackson Smith and Jigba for Seattle this week. He's fairly cheap at FanDuel. They list him at 5,300.
Real cheap.
Without DK Metcalf last week, he had a great game. And now with Tyler Lockett coming up with this hamstring injury, hamstrings are tricky, guys. You never know when they're going to be re-aggravated, this and that. And after Gardner Minshew put up the numbers that he did against the Cleveland defense, I have JSN as one of my value guys.
I like it. I like
You
it
can
because
throw him in there pretty cheap.
I'll tell you, I like it because 5,300. It's cheap. I don't know the numbers, but people like Jamar Chase is probably 11,000.
I'll tell you right now, Jamar Chase is at 8,500.
Who's number one though? That's
Number one is Tyreek Hill at 9,500.
okay. So he's almost half the price, right, of
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, and you'll save a lot of money in that aspect. And what I like
Yeah.
about what you said about this situation, and I'm sure Dave agrees with me. Yeah, he had a pretty good game without DK Metcalf, but JSN isn't DK Metcalf. JSN
No,
is
he's
Tyler
not.
Lockett. So if Tyler
He's
Lockett,
a little bit more along the Tyler Lockett aspect, and they're kind of similar builds. They have similar speed. But like I said, with DK coming back this week, but with the questionable tag with the hamstring that Lockett carries into this week, I know Gino it didn't play all that well against Arizona last week, but this week I like him to look for JSN a little bit more, especially if Tyler Lockett can't go. I mean, we saw the ridiculous catch that Bobo made on the sideline there in the end zone. But he targeted both of those guys just the same. I have another guy here for you guys too. One more, and we're looking at Jaylen Warren this week. Jacksonville has a pretty decent run defense, but if Najee Harris keeps struggling, Jaylen Warren is the guy to go after. Excuse me. He's only 5,800, so if you're looking for another guy in there, Jaylen Warren has my vote this week as well.
you don't have any concerns. I know he's a more value play, but I mean Najee didn't necessarily struggle this last week. So
No, he didn't, but he hasn't been that great throughout the entire season, and it looks like they're going more towards a split in the running back room, which is something that Pittsburgh has really never done before. So seeing that now, I'm okay with Jaylen Warren for a value guy. If you need someone to throw in there, nothing crazy.
absolutely. You got anything to say about those guys, Dave? I kind of was dominating that.
I like the JSN play. Yeah, I mean, I think those are pretty solid options. And guys, like the reason why we're doing this is if you play daily, you need these guys. You know what I mean? They're 80% of the people have Tyreek Hill in their lineup. 80% of the people have ponied up to put Christian McCaffrey in their lineup. It's these guys that you're stretching on, taking chances on, filling in those cheaper slots that are going to set you apart from everybody else. And that's how you win the dough in those leagues.
Bro, I love filling cheap slots. I love it. Oh, it's my fucking favorite. Oh my god. All right, so just a little clarification for people. If you don't do the daily thing, and I know it's like I do it a lot, Adam does it a lot. I think Dave does it a lot. I assume Dave does some daily.
Yeah.
What you guys need to know is there's a bunch of different options. There's these big like, conglomerate of like millions of people in it, small entry fee. If you're probably going to lose, but by some chance, if you fucking win, you're going to win a lot of money. In one of those major tournaments a couple of years ago on Christmas Eve, I won $2,500. And that is I mean, for like, you know, us middle class type people, that's awesome. That's pretty life changing money.
Uh,
There's a chance you could win $1 million, right? But I mean, it's all low. So how that works is it's you know, it's a salary cap. So it's like you get your lineup. You only got X amount of money to spend. If you got it pulled up, Adam, I don't know how much it is, but you get X
So
amount.
you get $60,000 on FanDuel, and that's to fill out an entire roster, which is
It's
why these guys
two running
have
back,
their
2 receivers.
Yep, it's quarterback, 2 running back, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex.
And a deep-
So these guys that I just named are more along the lines of a cheap flex position start on these daily lineups.
So let's just give them a bit of information. $60,000 to spend. How much money is Christian McCaffrey?
Christian McCaffrey is $10,200. So
So
that is
a
a
sixth.
sixth of your cap, and it's very hard to fill rosters when you have these big name guys. So these are the types of guys that you're going to be looking for.
Exactly. And for more daily content, guys, that's a full roster. I like to play the single game one. So basically how that works is on all the night games, I'll do it tonight for Thursday. I'll do it Sunday night game. I'll do it Monday night game. It's a lineup of 5 or 6 people.
It's five players, and the player that you start on top gets a 1.5 times boost.
Yes, he's your MVP.
They call it your MVP or your superstar. Or across different apps, they call it different things.
So
I
if he
think
gets 10 points regular, since he's your MVP, he's got 15 points.
Correct.
So that's what makes a difference. And the only rules are there's a salary cap, but you have to start one player from both teams. That's it. You could have four Bills and 1 Tampa Bay Buck. But it's tough because you have to have the right player in the MVP. You have to be perfect to win these big fucking contests. But if you like the daily stuff and you're learning, you know, if you follow our TikTok, Fantasy Football Bros on TikTok, or if you follow our YouTube, Fantasy Football Bros on YouTube, I post my lineup every night game, and I'm on a 3-game winning streak of doubling my money. I know that doesn't sound a lot, but doubling your money is one thing. I only bet $9, so I only won $18. But if I bet $100, I would have won $200, right? So it's just like, if you want to see how to get your feet wet in it, in these single games, they're fun. They're a little easier to navigate, and you can look at my lineup. You could play my lineup. If you play my lineup, you could play my lineup and win exactly what I win or lose. Not going to win every time, but the single game lineup is how I won the 2,500 a couple of years ago because I was perfect on it, right? So there's some daily advice for you. And Dave, you do the dailies, right?
I do the dailies. I love me some daily stuff. I think it's great. And like I said, it's these guys. It's these different maker guys. So the 1-game lineups are a little bit different where you're kind of limited, but you still need to find those kind of sleepers. But when you're looking at these, you know, you're looking at the 12-game slot spread on Sunday and you're able to choose a bunch of different guys. It's these guys that are in that 40, you know, that 4,200, that 4,800 range that kind of pop off for. It's like when Nico Collins, you played Nico Collins for $4,200 and he goes for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like that's gonna win you the money. So usually these guys are the guys to look out for. Usually
the winner is the guy that, say, if it was the Seattle game, if somebody started Bobo.
Like right. Correct. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And he's probably pretty cheap too. Let me see if I can let me pull him up really quick. I just closed it out.
Especially for tomorrow night or tonight, the Bills and Tampa. I didn't do my lineup yet, but somebody that would win you the game isn't Stephon Diggs, isn't Josh Allen, isn't James Cook, isn't Mike Evans. The guy that'll win you the game is if you start Deontay Hardy, and Deontay Hardy has 2 touchdowns. If you were brave enough to start Deontay Hardy, Khalil Shakir, Deuce Vaughn, or no, that's Dallas. Keyshawn Vaughn, sorry, the backup running back in Tampa, and if that guy gets a touchdown or somehow gets 2 touchdowns, those are the guys that win the $1 million. It's throwing your hat into the air, right? You don't know what you're going to do. So what I like to do, and here's some advice for you guys, is maybe I'll throw one of those deep sleepers in, but one thing I like to put in on every lineup daily, and you can look back at all my lineups, you'll see, is I play either a kicker or a defense. And I know that's like not like the coolest thing to do, but like if a defense gets a touchdown or God forbid 2 touchdowns, They got more points than half the people in there. If the teams are shitty and the kicker kicks 5 field goals, you know what I mean? Like that's a lot of points that you could and not a lot of people start those people. And that's where the difference is in Daily. Everyone's going to have Josh Allen. Everyone's going to have Mike Evans. Like you got to find that difference. I mean, you could go for the deep shot. I kind of like to hedge my bets. I don't think I'm going to win $1 million, but like I'll put a kicker to defense in and maybe win on a $9 bet. Maybe I'll win 200. That's still freaking sweet.
Yeah, so it also depends too. Like this is a full roster, so you get 60,000, and I think with the single game ones you get a little bit less. But Jake Bobo is only 5,100, and in these ones, in the full roster ones, you don't get a kicker, you just get a defense. So looking at the let me find a single game one here. Let's just look for tomorrow night.
And a reminder to everybody at home for the kickers and defense and stuff. You can start whatever. The only rules is salary cap and 1 player on each team.
Correct.
You don't have to start a kicker or defense.
So you get the same starting salary at 60,000 across all of FanDuel. But with with only selecting 5 players, sometimes they adjust the prices accordingly to the players are a little bit more expensive. Like Josh Allen is your most expensive player at 17,500, right? So that's a big chunk of your salary, and keeping that in mind. But like Chaz said, look for those guys that you might not really start, or you might think that somebody might not have in their roster. Yeah, I believe is this. How
much is Deontay Hardy?
So Deontay Hardy, if I'm looking at this game, he's very low, 6,000.
Sure. So that's a 10th of your points, as Josh is almost a 5th of your points of your salary cap. So
the cheapest that they go, like, so 5,000 is the lowest that they go, according to this, and these are all just guys that, like, Kyle Allen's 5,000, but nobody's gonna play him because it's just not gonna happen. On the off chance, I'm not saying that Josh Allen is gonna get hurt, but if he gets hurt during the game and you have Kyle Allen in your lineup just because you were like, hey, I'll take a chance on it, you're looking pretty good for a win there in Daily. But it's not really something that you would do anyway, but just for an example, those are the kinds of lineups that win. You just pick that one that is just like one that nobody else would pick, who ends up doing very well.
So, well, hopefully we learned you guys something there. Dave, do you have a like a big win on Daily?
Not really a big win. I mean, I've won a couple $100, but I enter into like the $1 million and stuff like that. So, but I mean, I'll usually bet like $20, and I've won a couple $100 a couple times, and that's a good win.
Well, let's give people like some, like, just like when you win $200 in these big contests, you probably finish like 1,486.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like that's like to win $200. Like these have so many people in it. Like it's ridiculous. Adam, do you got a big Daily win at all?
No, I'm in the same boat as Dave. I've won a couple $100. My biggest win actually came on so FanDuel used to do a suicide pool, and there'd be a whole bunch of people enter, and you got to pick, and then ultimately whoever was left at the end of the season, after this was back 16 game seasons, not 17. I ended up splitting the prize money, which ended up being like $1,500.
Nice.
It was me and like 30 other people that were left at the end. So,
but
that was my biggest win. But I'm in the same boat as Dave. Like I won a couple $100 on Daily lineups, but other than that, it's nothing crazy.
Well, since I won 2,500, maybe this should be my segment. No, it was just. And for my $2,500 segment, I just want to say thank you. It was a Christmas miracle because it was Christmas Eve that I won the $2,500. So
that's incredible.
It was a Christmas miracle.
That's a good.
And I remember the game. It was 2 years ago. It was Tennessee Titans on Thursday night against the Philadelphia Eagles. So I just always remember that. I just happened to win. All right. So real quick. Let's How
about them Bills, baby? Let's go.
All I got to say is, all right, you fucking suck. Everybody hates Ken Dorsey. Everybody hates this offense. You're coming into a Thursday night game. You don't have time to overthink this. Please, for the love of God, go out there and torch Baker Mayfield. Please. fucking please. It's a home game on a short week. You're going to have nice weather. Fuck this team up. Do not let them fucking come down and beat you like you let fucking Mac Jones, the 1-5 Patriots, do. I'm not gonna pile on you. I've been piling on you for weeks. Okay, it's been almost a month. The jet lag should be done. The jet lag should be gone. So please just go out there and put your fucking foot on the throat of Baker Mayfield and Rashad White and fucking murder this team. That's what I have to say.
I'm not even going to say anything about it because I agree. So
I'm not topping that.
I'm tired of repeating myself. I know you guys are too, and yeah, I'm good with that.
And let's let Josh play a little bit. I know we want to keep him not injured, but let's also not handcuff him to the point where he's not Josh Allen. And defense, love you guys, but you gotta step it up.
And again, the defense has been hurt. But
defense has been hurt. I know, but you just gotta at this point.
Adam, any word on Ed Oliver? Is he playing? Because I didn't hear he's not.
I haven't heard that he's not.
Good sign.
But I also haven't heard that he is. So I guess I'm just gonna have to wait and see when the injury report comes out on Friday.
Well, real quick.
Actually, it should be out now.
Well, tonight, yeah. Well, real quick then. Before we end,
we play on Thursday.
Dawson Knox out. Do we see
Yes.
a big uptake for DK?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I do. And he had a really good stat line last week. He had like 7 for 75.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
And that was while Knox.
And that was while Knox was playing. So, because Knox went out towards the end of the game.
It's a perfect scenario. If he's playing better, he's learning the system. Knox, I'm sorry, Adam. You love him. You're friends with him. He's been playing not well. And unfortunately, he got hurt. So it's the perfect storm for maybe a breakout coming for Kincaid. So my advice, if you got Kincaid on your team, start him tonight.
And this is why this is why the Bills drafted him to be this guy. So I would definitely want to see it, especially against a team that isn't great against tight ends.
So it's now or never. So the last question before we end this, because our next episode will be post trade deadline. So Dave, who did the Bills trade for?
Nobody.
Okay. Adam, who did the Bills trade for?
Not one person.
I think they do something. It's not going to be Nuke. It's not going to be Adams. I think here's your two options.
It's going to be another Naheem Hines type deal.
Well, no, here's what I think the Bills are going to end up with. Here's your two choices. They need a little running back help with Damian Harris getting hurt, and they've been trying out people. He's been put on the trade block. They'll probably take a 7th-round pick for him. Bring in Delvin. Why not? For a 7th-round pick, have the Cook brothers. Wouldn't hurt anything for a 7th-round pick. I would do that. Or we need some slot help. Yes, I would love Devontae Adams. Can we afford it? Probably not. But why not Hunter Renfrow? Bring him in. He can't hurt. He can't hurt to have Hunter Renfrow in there. Hunter Renfrow is our number 2 wide receiver over Gabe Davis. You better fucking believe it. Right off the rip.
I don't disagree with that at all. You know I don't.
No.
So the Bills traded for one of those two.
Yeah.
Maybe both, because who fucking cares about a 7th-round pick? And I don't think you need to give up much to get Hunter Renfrow. 5th? So.
I mean, that could be a 7th-round pick too.
Could you imagine? Our offense would look so much better with Hunter Renfrow in the slot, Gabe Davis and Diggs on the end, and finally Kincaid, right? It would look so much better. So that's my theories. All right, so our next episode will be after the trade deadline, so we'll see if there's any major moves. I don't know if any of those guys are going to get traded. I think the biggest trade of the week, I do think this is going to happen, Adams' boy. I think your boy Henry's going to end up on a new team. Probably Baltimore, maybe Cleveland.
Agree, and the reason I agree is because they already traded. Like I said earlier, they traded Kevin Byard to Philly. He was their best defensive player, and
Justin Simmons, buddy.
He was one of their best defensive players. Also different positions. So it looks to me that Tennessee is kind of going in a different direction, and Tajay Spears has been pretty good to come in and back up Derrick Henry, but he's made the most of all his touches, and he's really good in the passing game where Derrick Henry is not a well-known pass catcher. So I could see him moving. I'm probably thinking like might be the favorite, a team that is really run heavy. And yeah, I know we saw Lamar throw for over 300 yards, but even still, he also ran for a touchdown and had like 75 yards on the ground. So if they can make Lamar more of a passer, and that would probably keep him a little bit healthier this season if he's not running as much, and they have somebody like Derrick Henry. So that could be where he goes. And either way, he's still starting in my fantasy team. So
Dave, you got any big predictions?
Nah, not really.
Think nothing big's gonna happen?
I don't know. I always get my hopes up that something big's gonna happen, and it really doesn't.
I mean, I don't even mean for the Bills, just in general. Do you think Henry's gonna go? You think Nuke's gonna go?
I wouldn't be surprised if Henry goes. I wouldn't be surprised if Nuke goes. Yeah, the Tennessee Tankers. I'm just looking for them to jump ship everywhere. So
fair enough. All right, so here's a quick prediction to me. If I'm gonna say it right now, if Derrick Henry gets traded to the Baltimore Ravens, they're my new pick to be in the Super Bowl. So that's what I would say. The offense already looks great. The defense already looks great. They lost J.K. Dobbins week 1. If they could get the best running back in the NFL in the past 10 years on his last leg, right, take him out behind the shed at the end of the year,
at least it'll give him a chance at a bowl. So
yeah. So that's it. All right, Dave, you were given the task to pick the last spoopy song of the month.
Let's go a little White Zombie, More Human Than Human.
All right, there we go.
Okay, we'll go with the scary theme, but we'll keep it kind of hardcore.
I like it, and just because I do all the editing, I'm putting a second song in for Song of the Week. I'm putting in Rockwell. I always feel like somebody's watching me. We're going to go with that. We're going to have 2 songs of the week. More Human Than Human by White Zombie and Rockwell featuring MJ.
Hey there, little fella.
He's going to DJ it. He's going to mix it all up for us, boys. It's going to be sick.
I could do that.
I like it.
All right. So Jay will be at the game tomorrow, I think. So good luck, or tonight, whether you hear this. So have fun, Jay. I hope it's a better experience for you than the last couple you went to, or the last one.
At least it'll be warm.
It'll be a nice day, so we'll see. The Bills win this one, right?
I feel like they got it.
God, I hope so. The line right now is 8.5.
Fuck. Why is that so big? That's what she said.
I said this to country music superstar Eric Van Houten earlier today when I was filling out my our spread league that we're in on Yahoo, and I looked at it and I go, the way that the Bills have played the last 2 weeks, and they're still getting 8.5 points against Tampa Bay. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But I mean, I don't set the spreads, and maybe somebody knows something that I don't. But I use my eyes when I watch the game, and I didn't see anything spectacular. So.
Well, I know we're not supposed to we can't see each other's picks, but I'll just give mine away for the spread league. I took the Bills at 8.5. It's a home game. I expect them to come out on fire. What did you do, Adam? Give up the pick.
I did as well. I took the Bills 8.5. I think they get right this week. I know they had a couple weeks where they struggled, especially against the Giants, and we obviously lost the game against the Patriots. This is where we get right. Diggs has another big game, and Josh Allen goes crazy.
Divulge, Dave. What did you take for that spread?
Tampa Bay.
Okay, fair. I mean, who can blame you, bro? It's a big spread.
I don't blame you at all for taking that at all.
Go Bills. I think Bills win. It's a lot. That's a lot of love on Tampa Bay side.
And a reminder, it's 8.5, so that means the Bills have to win by 9.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of love.
In order to cover.
That's a lot of love. So.
All right, well, we got through all our new segments. Hopefully you guys liked it. It was a longer episode, but hey, we had a lot to talk about. Maybe get your bets in. Let us know how you like the new flow of the podcast. I promise I'll make some cool drops coming up. So, all right, Adam, thank you as always for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Thank you for having the microphone. You sound so much better.
Yes.
Dave, thank you as always for joining us.
Appreciate you, boys.
Conspicuous by our absence, of course, is but she's around here somewhere. So remember, your songs of the week are White Zombie, More Human Than Human, and Rockwell featuring MJ. Somebody's watching me. So I guess this is going to come out after Halloween. So everybody be safe out there. Check your candy for razor blades. Nobody fucking puts puts razor blades and candies anymore. But still, be
Who
safe.
the
out
fuck
there.
has the time for that
Right.
shit?
Be safe out there. Watch out for kids running around, trick or treating. Everybody be safe out there. Thank you, everybody. Go Bills. And until then, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Later, guys. Have a good one.
You are now listening to the Fantasy Football Bros Podcast.
Go smoke.